Good morning, my friends. My name is Darren Gerdes. I'm just a professor trying to help you understand context in the war in Ukraine. So, 1,280 Russians off the battlefield, and I think there's an explanatory reason for the rate of the increase recently, and I'll get to that. It's minor, but I think there's something to it. 8 tanks, 16 armored combat vehicles, 56 artillery pieces. Vehicles and fuel tanks, 74. And if it includes what I think it might include, like motorcycles, that's part of the package here. Okay, let's keep going. Andrew Perpetua, he does his analysis where he visually confirms lost tanks and combat vehicles and things along these lines. Russia's lost 62 to Ukraine's 33 in the last 24-hour cycle, right? But Russia's losses include 25 motorcycles. Now, they've been doing this weird thing where they send these Russians on motorcycles forward, like it just they have and they die, right? They have no protection. This is like the stupidest thing, but of course they don't really care about the human life. They're just trying to, take out some people along the way. And so that might explain some of the high casualty rates here. Okay, it's just my speculation. Tell me what you think below. There's a strong fire in Russian Kursk. Local authorities have not yet reported the cause of the fire, but local residents report in chat rooms that there is a military facility there. And here's another view of it. Jason J. Smart in Kursk, Central Aviation Technical Base. Well, there's a facility, is on fire after a series of explosions. So that makes sense of that. There's also another one here. On the evening of 1 July 2024, a missile strike targeted a Russian Black Sea Fleet facility near Cape Floyant in occupied Sevastopol. The strike, using unspecified cruise missiles, destroyed a warehouse containing 90 Shahed 136 Garan 2 UAVs. There is no information on casualties or personnel, but okay, so they struck this base with the Shaheeds. Here's another view of this with the smoke cloud, but no video. I'm trying to stay in YouTube's good graces. Ukraine forces delivered a successful strike on the ammunition depot in temporarily occupied Crimea. Here's the original report from Telegram as well. So it's all part of the same thing as far as I can detect. Okay, let's turn to some political news here. The Pentagon lacks evidence of North Korean troops in Ukraine supporting Russia. Now, yesterday I talked about how there was evidence presented to the United Nations about North Korean missiles. They could tell by the fragments and the types of parts, and it didn't hurt that they had Korean writing on it and that sort of thing. Okay, but South Korea has reported that North Korean engineers were going to be deployed to Donetsk Oblast. That may still be true. We just don't have the evidence yet. And so when we see the evidence, we'll certainly report on it. Okay. Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban has met with Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky in Kyiv. The aim of the Hungarian presidency. Now, so there's a rotating presidency in Europe and for the European Union, and Hungary is now going to be in charge moving forward for the next, I think it's a year. Correct me if I'm wrong. Those of you who are from Europe, I don't understand the European system as well as I should. Because I'm an American. I understand our system really well, but not that. The aim of the Hungarian presidency is to contribute to the solution, the challenges facing the European Union. My first trip therefore, I led to Kyiv, and he said a little bit more, and I'm going to cover that extensively tonight here, but here's another article about that. Hungarian President Viktor Orban has called Russia's war against Ukraine the most critical issue in Europe today, expressing confidence that it will, listen to this, remain significant throughout the next 6 months during the Hungarian presidency in the European Council. But I think the presidency lasts longer than that. But why is he talking about 6 months? Well, getting through this election season is the issue, and then things may change. I don't know if it will or won't, but that timing of 6 months is sounding really ominous to my mind. Okay, Joe Biden, and let's turn to the United States and what's going on there. Joe Biden's family expressed unequivocal support for the Democrat to continue to run for president. This was yesterday. I reported on that. That happened over the weekend. And the backup plan apparently seems to be Vice President Kamala Harris is the most likely replacement, according to the Wall Street Journal, if he were to withdraw from the race. Now, I know that I don't see things the way that a Democrat sees things or the way that an independent sees things. I've been proven to not see the same way multiple times. So I'm humble about that in the sense that I know I just don't. But from a Republican perspective, she's far worse than even a kind of slipping Joe Biden to our minds. So I don't know how that helps, but that's just how Republicans will see it. I don't know how independents will see it, but generally speaking, most vice presidents are not seen as competent as the presidents that they're elected with, like Dan Quayle with George Bush Sr., or that sort of thing. It can change. It can be different. Like Pence was seen as a good conservative counterbalance to Trump, but not. So at any rate, I just don't know what to make of that. So I'm just reporting what I see. I also saw this. Jay in Kyiv said, well-deserved mainstream credit for Pete. This is Pete, the medic. And I talked about that yesterday. I talked about that the day before. And there's really not enough times that we can bring this to light and honor Pete for all of his work and his sacrifice. It even showed up in the BBC. Charity founder dies in Ukraine on the battlefield, and then covered some lines from the press release, the statement. It's with the heaviest of hearts that we announce the passing of Pete, our beloved director and founder. There are no words that can do him justice. His unwavering dedication, endless compassion, and relentless commitment to Ukraine and her people have left an everlasting impact on the countless lives he touched. He's credited with saving at least 200 on the battlefield. We don't know how many more that might even be, but he also was involved in significant social media presence and fundraising and that sort of thing. So his work was amplified far beyond that. Okay, I can't believe it, but this is Anton Gerashenko now. I can't believe it, but Russia not only continues to be in the UN, but will also be the chair of the Security Council this month. Now, the chair of the Security Council rotates just like the presidency of the EU does. So he's going to chair this. Russia's going to chair the UN Security Council this month. Peskov has already given an interview on what Russia plans to do this month. Quote, Russia, as a permanent member of the UN Security Council, remains faithful to its obligations and maintains a responsible approach, calling on other nations to cooperate and respect international rules. Really? The most wanton violator of international rules is saying that. Okay, sounds like an outright mockery, because that's exactly what it is. Russia is blatantly mocking all UN member states. Russia should have been expelled long ago, but it seems like the world is waiting for more upheaval to get there. It's a shame and very sad, Anton Gerashenko said here. And I think he's absolutely spot on. By the way, the permanent members of the UN Security Council are China, France, Russia, the United Kingdom, and the United States. And that's an aftermath of World War II. I mean, if you were to reconstruct it today, you'd probably put India and Japan in that mix at least. And in fact, the most frequently elected members to the Security Council are Japan, Brazil, Argentina, India, Pakistan, and so on. Okay. Last little bit, Kanye West was traveling to Russia to do some concerts there, and it seemed kind of weird. Like, Kanye, really? Why? What's going on here? Well, the Russian Orthodox Traditionalist Social Movement has sent an open letter to the Russian Prosecutor General's office with a request to check Kanye West's lyrics to find the fact of insulting Russian women and to permanently ban the rapper from entering Russia. The attentive ears of those far from hip-hop comrades were hooked on the line, "She Russian, I beat up the blank for Ukraine," which sounds near the end of the song. However, this line and the lyrics was written not even by Kanye, but his fellow singer Ty Dolla $ign. I don't know who that is. That's just not my scene, right? But the questionable concept of going to Russia to begin with, and then with lyrics that were pejorative, and well, most of his lyrics are pejorative in some way, but it just like, okay, Kanye. Anyway, that's all that I have today. Thank you for your time. Thank you for the likes, the shares, the subscribes, and thank you for being the kind of person that cares about Ukraine.